Most people live like this. You're born. You go to school. You get a job. You struggle. You die. And in between all of that, you hope things somehow work out. That's the script you were handed. You didn't write it. You just showed up in it. But what if that entire story was never built for your freedom? What if the world you call real is just a tiny layer of something much bigger? And you were trained to only see that layer because it keeps you easy to control. Every once in a while, the mask slips. You think of someone, and they text you. You're desperate for an answer, and it shows up in a random conversation. You just know you shouldn't go somewhere, and later find out something bad happened there. You casually mention to someone, "I'm thinking about leaving my job." Then the next day, you discover a posting that feels like it was written for you. Those are not accidents. That's not just coincidence. That is you, for a brief moment, operating at a higher level than you were told existed. There is a field behind everything. Not a fantasy, not a fairy tale. A real, invisible blueprint. A vibrational field that responds to your state. Not to what you say, not to what you post, not even to what you want. It responds to what you are. For the next 24 hours, do this. Every time you think of someone out of nowhere, write down their name in your Notes app. Notice if they call, text, DM, or randomly appear in your life over the next few days. You'll start to see your mind and this field are already talking. You just never noticed. If there's a hidden blueprint, who hid it? Here's the uncomfortable truth. There is an enemy in this story, not a villain with a face, not a politician, not a billionaire sitting in a dark room petting a cat. No, this enemy is smarter than that. It's a system that feeds on your low frequency, and it has been studying you since the day you were born. And while you were learning your ABCs, it was learning your weaknesses. While you were growing up, it was tightening the cage around your mind. This system isn't a person. It's a machine built from generations of control. Schools, designed to reward obedience, not awareness. Jobs, designed to keep you tired, not creative. Media, designed to keep you scared, not powerful. Culture, designed to convince you survival is success. It doesn't need bars. It doesn't need guards. It only needs one belief to stay alive. You are small. You are separate. You must struggle. Because if you believe that, you become predictable. You wake up tired. You scroll for distraction. You work a job that drains you. You chase approval. You drown in fear. You panic about money. You settle for relationships that shrink you. You numb yourself with entertainment. You consume. You obey. You repeat. Every single day. Like a trained animal chasing a reward that was never meant to come. And while you're exhausted from running on the hamster wheel, something darker is happening. You stop questioning the wheel itself. You stop noticing the cage. You give up the one thing the system can't control once you remember you have it. Your ability to choose your frequency. The system is terrified of that moment because the instant you stop reacting to fear, you stop being profitable. You stop being predictable. You stop being harvestable. You become dangerous. So the system fights back. Hard. It distracts you with panic headlines. It buries you in debt you didn't need. It turns your value into a number on a paycheck. It convinces you that dreaming big is childish, irresponsible, naive. And then it smiles as you shrink yourself, over and over again. Because while you're busy trying to survive, you never stop to ask the one question that would expose the entire illusion. Who wrote the rules of the game? And more importantly, why did I ever agree to play by them? 3D is not a physical place. It's a frequency, a way of seeing life. In 3D, you believe you're separate from everyone and everything. You see life as me versus the world. Time feels like a straight line. Past, present, future. You think, if I grind hard enough, maybe I'll make it. It sounds responsible. It sounds normal. But it's actually a prison. You're stuck in fear of not having enough. Fear of what people think. Fear of losing what you have. And fear keeps your frequency low. Low frequency equals easy to control. The system loves that. Think of an entrepreneur you know, working 14 hours a day, answering every email, chasing every client, burned out, stressed, exhausted. Their income? Up and down, never stable, never peaceful. They keep thinking, I just need to work harder. But the truth is, they're doing everything from a frequency of scarcity and panic. The system taught them, work more, feel less. So their results match that. More work, less life. At some point, the 3D script stops making sense. You get tired of chasing validation, chasing money, chasing approval. You hit your goals and still feel empty. That's not failure. That's a glitch in the matrix. It's your consciousness saying, this can't be all there is. That discomfort you feel, the boredom with old goals, the way drama now drains you, that's not you falling apart. That's you waking up. Ask yourself this honestly. Does the life you were told to want still feel exciting or just heavy? Do some people you hang with now feel more like noise than support? If yes, your frequency is already outgrowing the old system. You're glitching out of the 3D prison. Let's talk about the fifth dimension. No portals, no aliens, no Hollywood special effects. The fifth dimension is not a place you travel to. It's a frequency you learn to hold. A state of consciousness where you feel connected instead of alone. You move with timing instead of forcing everything. You attract what matches your inner state instead of begging for scraps. Life responds to you like a mirror, not a master. Luck becomes normal. This is where reality stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that happens from you. Because in the fifth dimension, you discover the truth. The external world is just the reflection. The internal world is the source. The rules. Flip. In the 3D prison, the formula is always, when I have it, then I'll feel better. When I get the promotion, when I meet the right person, when I finally make enough money. You delay happiness. You delay peace. You delay permission to feel like a somebody. And the system loves that because it keeps you chasing forever. But in the fifth dimension, the formula is brutally simple. When I feel better, then I'll have it. Why? Because your frequency becomes your GPS, your magnet, your blueprint. When your internal world changes, the external reality must catch up. It has no choice. This isn't just spiritual talk. Quantum physics already proved what you observe changes what exists. Energy organizes around intention, meaning your emotions generate electromagnetic signals. Your thoughts give those signals direction. Your focus chooses which version of reality you experience. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are willing to feel as true. You can't beg for abundance while vibrating with fear of losing everything. The field will always reply, your wish is my command. But the wish isn't what you speak. It's what you sustain. Why the system fears the 5D. When you shift into the fifth dimension, you don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need saving. You don't need to hustle for worth. You stop reacting to fear. You stop consuming to fill emptiness. You stop believing life must be a battle, and that makes you impossible to control. The system loses power the moment you stop worshiping struggle. The tension behind the transformation. Shifting into 5D isn't comfortable. There's a withdrawal period, boredom with old goals, anxiety when leaving survival mode, people thinking you're too calm, too confident, or unrealistic. The old identity trying to drag you back into fear. Because once you start moving from inner alignment, the system assumes you're glitching. Because you're no longer programmable. You are no longer a puppet. You become the puppeteer. And the moment you realize this, everything changes. Not instantly, not magically, but inevitably. Because life always adjusts to the frequency you refuse to drop. The shift into the fifth dimension isn't a leap. It's a choice you make over and over and over, until it becomes the only way you know how to exist. The only question now is, for how much longer will you keep asking the universe for permission to be who you already are? Take that same entrepreneur. They hit burnout. They realize grinding harder isn't working. So they do something the system hates. They pause. They start working less, but more consciously. They clean their circle. They say no more often. They protect their peace. They stop chasing every dollar. They focus on feeling centered, clear, and enough first. Within months, an unexpected partnership appears. Their best clients start referring them. Opportunities show up that they never forced. Same person, new frequency, different reality. That's 5D. Your body is not just a meat suit. It's an antenna. When you live in 3D, your heart and brain are out of sync. You feel anxious, tired, and on edge. Your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight. When you start shifting to 5D, you become more sensitive to noise, drama, and chaos. You crave quiet, nature, time alone. Old habits and foods feel too heavy. You're not going crazy. You're retuning. Your hardware is updating to match your new software. As your frequency rises, something uncomfortable happens. People fall away. Old friends, sometimes family, co-workers, partners, not always with a fight, often just distance. You're not being cold. You're not selfish. You just can't stay in rooms built on gossip, victimhood, complaining, low standards. Your system literally rejects it now. The system will whisper, "You're changing. You think you're better than them." But the truth is, you're not better. You're just tuned differently. Here's where you break the system's grip. In 3D, you react to everything. A comment, a bill, a text, bad news. You explode. You shut down. You spiral. Every reaction is a hook that drags you back into the old frequency. In 5D, you become the observer. Something happens. You feel the emotion rise. Anger, fear, shame, frustration. But instead of reacting, you pause. You watch. You breathe. You feel, without lashing out. The situation is the same, but your relationship with it changes. That space between the event and your reaction, that is where you choose your reality. The biggest barrier between you and 5D is not money, not time, not your past. It's your ego story, the fake self you built to survive, the role you play, the title you cling to, the opinions you use as armor, the identity built on fear and approval. This is the part of you the system loves. Because as long as you worship that identity, you'll keep doing anything to protect it. But to fully shift frequencies, that version of you has to die. You start noticing your job title doesn't define you anymore. Your possessions don't impress you like before. The need to be liked begins to fade. You care more about peace than performance. It feels like losing yourself, but you're actually finding yourself. You're not becoming someone new. You're dropping who you were never meant to be. Here's the core law that runs all of this. Inner coherence creates outer reality. Coherence means your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are lined up, not fighting each other. When you say, "I'm abundant," but feel desperate, you're not coherent. When you say, "I trust," but live in fear, you're not coherent. The field responds to your real frequency, not your fake affirmations. In 3D, people try to manifest money while feeling poor, manifest love while hating themselves, manifest peace while living in chaos. In 5D, you flip it. You cultivate the feeling first. You hold it. You stabilize in it. Then the outer world has no choice but to match it. Not immediately. Not always how you expect, but consistently. Think of a great investor. They don't chase every stock. They don't panic with every headline. They do the research. But when it's time to decide, they trust their inner signal. Years later, people say, "Wow, that was lucky." It wasn't luck. It was coherence. Calm mind, clear intention, aligned action. That same pattern works in your life at every scale. Most people will never escape the 3D world. Not because they can't, but because they don't question it. They will. React without thinking. Chase without purpose. Beg for what they already are. Numb themselves so they don't feel the emptiness. And they will call that a normal life. They will defend their cage. They will worship the system that feeds on every fear they cling to. They will spend decades surviving and call that success. But you, the fact that you're still here, still listening, still feeling something move inside you, means you are already waking up. You've spotted the glitch in the matrix. You've felt the walls of the illusion bend. You've heard that tiny voice inside whisper, "There is more." And once you hear that truth, you can never unhear it. There is no going back to pretending you were small. So now, everything comes down to one thing. Not talent, not luck, not money, not education, not what your family thinks, not what society expects. A decision. The decision to protect your energy like it's your net worth. Observe instead of react like a puppet. Release the identities that were built on fear. Hold your frequency even when it isolates you. Trust that your inner world is the blueprint your outer world must obey. Because here's the ultimate truth. The fifth dimension is not a future destination. It's a permission slip you grant yourself now. It's the version of you that finally stops begging life to be better and becomes the architect of reality itself. It's the moment you stop living as a character trapped in a script. And remember, you are the one writing the script. You have a role in this world that no one else can play. You either die in the story they gave you, or you rise in the story you were born to create. So when the credits roll on this human experience, ask yourself, will they remember you as just another mind the system managed to tame? Or the one rebel who woke up, tore the script in half, and rewrote the entire damn story? Choose.